Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MilsimUnits.com podcast. I'm your host, C. Brock, and with us here tonight we have several members of the 11th MU. It's an Armor Reforger unit. On the panel, we have its commanding officer, Campbell,
Hey,
and with him we have Mox,
Hello.
and leading up the pack we have Rev.
How's it going?
All right, gentlemen. It's great to have you here on the podcast. Like I was saying before we got started, this is an opportunity for units to, get on the platform and, get the word out. Kind of show off what they got going in their part of the Armorverse or whatever platform they're operating on, and see what makes them stand out. So I'm looking forward to getting into this one. Reforger has just exploded, and I mean, there's a lot to learn. A lot of people in the community. So. With that, I want to hear from each of you. How did you guys get started in Milsim Gaming?
so I started. I've kind of done this all my life ever since I was a little kid. Starting off on like Call of Duty 3 and stuff.
Hmm.
And I was listening in on the last podcast. Somebody mentioned, Bad Company 1 and 2.
Right.
That's also something I was really heavily involved in, but I didn't get serious with making it a dedicated hobby until about 2016, and we started off on GTA, and we really wanted to adapt to more realism. So we went throughout many games, and we ended up here, which has offered a lot of opportunity for our unit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Mox?
it's just it
Mhm.
has exploded. So, like I was saying, but yeah. So Mox, what about your story?
I myself started out on a Battlefield. I went kind of through the chain of them, doing a couple for 4, 3, and then I did a handful for the Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, and then I kind of trickled down the vine and eventually got down to Arma. Not
Gotcha.
really much to it, man.
Yeah, I mean, kind of simple in a way, but not uncommon. Different path, but yeah, it's something about Arma. It's a big draw for just about all of us who are into this kind of thing. So,
Mhm.
what about you, Rev? How'd you get started in Milsim?
Well, I actually started when I was real young, doing just like simple like role play lobbies back on like GTA 4, and then that kind of carried over to GTA 5 when that came out, and it went from just kind of simple role play lobbies to actually joining actual Milsims on GTA, and that's where I mostly did it. I did a little bit on Ghost Recon and Wildlands and Breakpoint, but eventually, like to Reforger, actually, I was on it for about 2 months. Didn't really see anything at the time because that was first release, and I later, actually earlier this year, I ran into Campbell and a few of his guys, and they introduced me to it, and I could just kind of excel from there.
Gotcha. All right. So yeah, similar but different. Different titles, but same interest, and again, that same kind of endpoint with one of the Arma titles. So great stories, and always interesting to hear how guys get started and where they came from. So what about the 11th Mu? You guys, got a lot going for you. How did you get started as a unit? What was the story up to where you've brought yourself now?
Yeah. So I would say it started back in 2020 when we were on DayZ. As I said before, we started off on GTA. But what we quickly realized is that we were limited to a lot of Milsim features, if you will. And so that kind of just led us on a mission to find a game that would, you know, provide enough opportunity to really stretch our wings, I guess. And so we went across, Red Dead. We were based on the Boxer Rebellion Marines for a little bit. That was really fun. Went over to Battlefield 5, and then eventually DayZ, which we ran our own community server for a while called Resurgency, and we had a bunch of Milsim units um, fighting each other, in a realistic manner. But there was just one other thing that we were limited on, and that was kind of like doing combined arms operations, like incorporating, armor and air into, an exercise or a maneuver.
Hmm.
And so we made a decision to actually go over to Arma 3 in the later half of the community, and we did a lot of learning over there. I would also like to point out the 15th MU that came over to Reforger from Arma 3. Those dudes were kind of like a foundation of learning for us, and it
Mm.
inspired us to establish our own Marine Expeditionary Unit based off of the professionalism that they had, the way they went about things. It really gave us some really good insight, and so we did very well on Arma 3. But again, it was during the latter half of the community, I would say, and it was just really hard for us to succeed in terms of like building numbers and staff, etc. So I didn't know this at the time, but I learned that Armor Reforger was crossplay, and when we did make the transition from console to PC, we had to leave a lot of guys behind. And so
Mm.
as soon as I found that information, I immediately went back to be with all of my friends and everybody from the different games that all contributed to our success on console back to us on Reforger. And from there, there's been a lot of, new learning, trial and error, ups and downs. But over this course of times, we've been here for probably about 2 years now on Reforger. We've really built up a solid foundation of friends and really good staff people. So I would say we're doing very good in terms of providing an authentic experience.
Well, that's a great story because I mean every unit has its ups and downs. You know, people come and go. Leaders, they kind of age out, if you will. But I mean that's the thing. Reforger has got so much excitement, and since it came out on PlayStation, I mean it's like the media all over Twitch and YouTube and other outlets out there is it's just about nonstop. Someone's always streaming conflict or some kind of Reforger gameplay. So it seems like the natural direction to go. So I mean, really great. That's the thing that you were able to kind of breathe life into it again and just kind of take that community excitement and bring it into your
Yeah.
own unit here. So yeah,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. And 15th Mew, yeah, I mean seriously, really good guys, hardcore players, and yeah, you can everybody. I don't care what whether you're playing Marines or whatever, your
Hmm.
Milsim style is. You can learn a lot from them, and they have a great presence as well.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the community as well. We've met a lot of other units, that are willing to share their ideas with us, and we share them with them, and we kind of learn from each other and better our own unit in different aspects, from other people's opinions. So
Yeah.
it really helps.
Absolutely. That's it. I mean, bring out. I'm talking. It just sounds like almost every podcast I say it, but yeah, bringing out the best and having a good time together is really what this kind of gameplay is all about. So the
Yeah.
more people that we got in there, just good dudes getting together and having a good time together in a more serious manner than just whatever. That's what makes this what it is. So, tell us about your operations. I'm curious. It's like, what's your schedule? How do you balance, combat with training, and then, kind of after hours gameplay? It's like, what is, what does it look like for your Marines on the ground, and how do you guys, make yourselves stand out,
Yeah.
compared to some of the other units out there?
So I would say one of the biggest things in regards to us standing out is a consistent schedule. And it's, we don't have any necessarily activity requirements. We just, expect people to maintain a line of communication. Whether they can make it or not is, totally fine.
Mm.
So two things. We also simulate a like miniature deployment cycle. So while we're on a training cycle that usually lasts about a month to a month and a half, depending, it's Monday through Thursday are unit training days, and they kind of start off from like a fire team level, and they build up into their respective platoons or sections, etc. Um, and then on Fridays and Saturdays, we still like to get in, like a little operation or scenario to keep people engaged and having fun. And so as the weeks go on leading up into the deployment, each week will come with a new training goal, incorporating supporting elements, etc. But, better coordination between supporting elements and all that, and chain of command. But a week prior to our deployment, we do what is called a SOCX, and for the entire week, we essentially run a series of FTXs that serve as tests to where our headquarters kind of like grades their performance and their growth over, since the beginning of the training cycle. And this is just like a moment where nobody's mentoring; they're just executing based off of what they've been trained on for the last, month and a half. And then at the end, they'll receive a final grade and they'll receive their SOC designator and enables the unit to deploy. Whenever we're on deployment, it usually lasts again about a month to up to a month and a half, and we try to incorporate a deep story driven dynamic campaign, if you will, over like whatever map we're playing. And it will start off with, an initial invasion and then progress from there, and depending on what happens per mission, whether they are on point and they execute it to the T, adapt to all kinds of different situations, or if they, are not on point, chain of command is failing, communication is failing, they will have to deal with consequences, whether it's a setback or now they're going to have to take a defensive stance,
Mm.
etc.
Mm.
So we just
So
kind of repeat that consistently. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it sounds like a lot of effort, a lot of work goes into keeping that going. With that kind of schedule, I mean, for the hardcore player who wants to, like, make the most of the Milsim experience, you got something for them. And that takes a lot of effort for the leadership, and especially when you're on deployment. For the mission writers and the builders and all that. So, um, yeah, I mean that's what it takes to be, to be, the kind of the tip of the spear. I mean, you guys are tier one, certainly on the platform, but sounds like you're trying
Thank you.
to, yeah, you're trying to be, special operations capable. So,
Yeah, the aim is truly to really give somebody an experience on, being in the Marine Corps and experiencing that camaraderie while engaged in something that's realistic. Because that's another thing too. Like each mission is designed to, put our Marines at a disadvantage. All throughout Marine Corps history, you see it. You see Marines throughout every theater overcome the impossible, consistently over and over again. And we
mm,
want to really hit home with that. So I think there's a lot of relationship building out of, struggling together and then accomplishing something together, or, failing together.
yeah,
But
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Achievement really does for dedicated people, it does tend to bring out the best. So, I mean, it sounds like immersion is important to you. I'm curious about the realism aspect. I was asking about the Marine on the ground here. It's like, how do you balance that fine line between being immersive and realistic in terms of milsim, and then having a good time together as a bunch of buddies, on the server.
Well,
Uh,
that's kind of what's
yeah,
uh,
Mm,
that's
you
kind of
go
what's
ahead.
fun about the people that we have around here is that they know what we expect in terms of what we're doing, our operations, our trainings, compared to when we're just hanging out in chats. One thing we try to do is label chats and things like that so they know what they're getting into. They know when we're off duty, they know when we're on duty. But they also know the times that when they're in the field to crack jokes, when to do that stuff. It's a matter of
sure.
forming relationships with those people and bonding with them. We have guys that come in, they get told right off the get, hey, we try to be as realistic as possible, and they just fall right into line. We don't have to ridicule them and all that stuff. Some of them might have to adapt a little bit, but it's a matter of just the brotherhood that these guys have been able to build with each other and knowing when to turn it on and when to turn it off.
Yeah, and to add to that, we usually schedule everything in the evenings, and so before, like, people are getting off work, there's still hours that we're hanging out playing other games together. And then even after operations or anything that we're doing, we're just hanging out with each other. You know, um, that's that's something with what he was what we let people know right off the bat is the foundation of our unit is friendship. So um, we do encourage people to get other games and play with each other. We play a lot of Star Citizen together for honor, especially, uh, and you know, so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a great insight. Just the kind of life that you guys have behind the scenes, because it's one thing to see media, to see the clips or streams or screenshots even, but to see that kind of behind the scenes perspective, what you guys are doing after hours, that says is much about a unit, I think, as what you guys do during your official operations. So. You guys are pretty tight, spend a good amount of time together, on and off duty, so to speak. So what's it like? I mean, what's the culture? I mean, you mentioned how close you are. So can you describe some instances of that camaraderie? What's it look like for the guys in the squads?
So the biggest thing with our leaders is we really try to emphasize on servant leadership and respect. So everybody maintains a baseline of respect with each other. We're not dictators, so we're not trying to go for the yes sir, no sir. It's encouraged if you want to dive into that, um, but it's more or less just all of us working towards a goal to better our unit, to grow our unit, um, and um, you could say in the culture that it's I would say it's pretty similar to the Marine Corps. It's kind of rough around the edges. It's some people could get offended easily, but we all maintain a level of maturity and respect for each other that we never take it too far. And if we do take it too far, like we've had moments where people will apologize and address like if something was too far. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's mainly we just try to maintain respect with each other and stay focused on goals that we all work together to achieve, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and definitely, it's important, point respect in terms of the character that you try to bring out, or not only that you try to bring out in your men, but also that you exemplify in your leadership. And when we were talking about the immersive elements, I mean, you guys, you're cracking jokes, and you know when to get serious and when to lighten up a little bit. And I
Yeah.
mean that's that's what you're talking about right here in terms of the culture. So that and that's what the Marines are known for. So you want to talk about realism? I mean, have that level
Yeah.
of professionalism. I mean, they got the dirtiest minds, but when it's go time, they know exactly what to do and how to do it. So something to be said. So
Yes, sir.
you mentioned, cracking jokes. And I know Arma. Personally, I spent most of my time in Arma 3. I have a little bit of experience in Reforger, but I know that every Arma title has its quirks. So, are there any funny or unexpected moments that you could describe during any of your training cycles and your operations? So, I always like to hear about just the crazy side of the Milsim experience.
Well, that goes hand in hand with the Arma itself as well, though, just because
Mm,
sometimes you have funny moments that develop because of stuff that happens with GM and glitches in the server, and it's
mm.
it kind of also relates back to what you asked the last time. And I hope my mic audio is coming through nice and clear. I apologize if it's not. Um, but it kind of relates because those guys, the way that they develop and like recover, like they'll funny moments will develop from the AI doing quirky, funny stuff, and the way they can just laugh about it and get back on task. Like I said, it kind of relates. And we had a moment about a month ago or
You
so
about
with
to
the
tell them
GM
about
moment.
the great slime of 2025, or
I'll leave that story for you, but no. But
okay.
one of the moments was we had a GM like moment where it kind of glitched out, and I was trying to me myself I was trying to spawn something in, and I glitched onto the map, and as I spawned in a squad size element, it landed right on top of a group of guys, and they went from being so tactical to sound like they were in a horror movie, and just the way they were just laughing and running through and doing stuff. It was just it's the way that they react that makes the moments more than the moment itself, and it's something that's really fun to watch with these guys. And yeah, the great slime of 25. I'll leave that for
Yeah.
Campbell to tell. But
So going back to kind of like the growing and the trial and error, as we grow, we do, invest in people, and sometimes, you have to work through some of their inexperience, and give them some good lessons. Well, we were doing a night op, and we were briefing them like, "Hey, you're gonna go in. This is only for intelligence. You need to fucking move in very covertly. Do not get sighted. It's one life. Okay, like that's all you get is one life. Okay, I want y'all to get in, get the intel, and get out. Okay, so and I gave them the option. So usually that's how our operations go. Is like we lay out the mission, and then they decide how they want to approach and execute it. Um, but so they, chose that they wanted to insert via helicopter. And one of the pilots, I guess, was a new pilot that we had, and proceeded to fly directly over the objective where they had AI and killed, I think, like three-quarters, if not the entire
It
team
was
that was moving in that night.
the entire squad. It was about 13 total men in a CH-53, and they were shot down by a Shilka.
Yes. And so I just came into the text chat and just politely said, y'all have one more life. Do better. And so it was one of those things that, it did suck, that it did frustrate them. We kind of gave them some breathing room, but after the fact, we turned around and just laughed at it because, like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a legit learning experience. I mean, you mentioned how you don't want to, uh, force them to go one path or the other. You give them some freedom, freedom not only of maneuver but in planning, of their ops there. So I mean, it's a hard lesson to learn, but it's something that stands out. I'm sure that you're not the only one who remembers that pretty vividly like that, but. Yeah, I don't care what you're in. Taking Shulker fire, that sucks. So just no way around it.
well, not only that, but it's just with the guys how something like that, a simple mistake, went from being a mixed moment for us, and that was honestly a highlight in a way for us because it was a mistake. It happened, but people laughed and they learned from it, and we actually haven't had a mistake like that since that moment.
Hmm.
And that's just what makes it, just the people, the people that have come, the people have, that are still here, and the ones that are gone now. It's the atmosphere like that keeps growing with those people because they know how to treat those moments, and it's really amazing because that's something even in the brief moments in other games, you just don't see that as often as you do as you like on Armor Reforger.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, you were mentioning earlier about how you want your Marines to be able to react to the unexpected, to overcome obstacles that were unplanned for from the get go. I mean, that's when you look at it that way, it is a great opportunity to. I mean, not only as a learning experience, but how to apply that those lessons and particularly in future maneuvers and operations. So yeah, I'd say
Oh, definitely.
I wouldn't say it's a funny story, but it definitely kind of unexpected, and there's something to be said about the way that your guys recovered from it, and just kept going, and that they haven't had anything serious like that occur since. Yeah, that is a testament because it's easy in Arma and just about any Milsim, but certainly Arma. So you guys have a long storied history. Came from or started on one title. Kind of came into your own here in Reforger in the last couple of years now. So you mentioned some of the ups and downs here. I'm curious to hear about some of the challenges you guys have personally faced in terms of being in the 11th Mu. What stands out in your mind, and how did you overcome them? I'm thinking for other guys out there that are struggling, or maybe they're thinking about Milsim. What from the leadership perspective can you share with the community?
Um, so I would say one thing that we struggled with, um, is a lot of people on this game, or some of the larger units on this game, actually come from GTA Milsim as well,
Mm.
and they knew how we were back then and how we were more competitive than we were Milsim just because of what we were up against in the community. And so some of them have kind of held grudges and tried to paint our names in certain aspects. Um, so that was one, just building trust with other units in the community based off of what other people have said about us and some of accusations towards us, such as like poaching and, um, you know, so, but with everybody that has met us and has gotten to participate in some of our JTOs and have us participate in theirs, um, we've essentially kind of proved some of these grudges wrong, and we're able to foster good alliances and connections with other like-minded units that want to, um, have fun and play realistically. Another one I would say is, I love active duty and I love veterans, but some of them have, you know, really big egos, and that's something that plagued our unit for a little bit. Where, we got a lot of people that haven't served, or who are also interested in serving, but some of these guys would come in and you know break immersion just to talk about themselves and make everything about themselves and kind of talk down on people who are inexperienced rather than fostering an experience with learning and respect for what they do in real life. So that was another thing, and that's why we really try to hit home on the servant leadership instead of this guy coming at you and yelling at you and talking down or belittling you. We have people in our leadership who want to provide a good experience, look out for you, make sure that you're informed, and if you are having issues, address them professionally. So, but other
Gotcha.
than that, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Well, and you brought up like experiences for people and like how to emerge. Like one thing, like just for example, personal experiences. We have some people that come in and they kind of get like a look at things and how we operate, and kind of discourage themselves, I guess you can say, because they think, oh well, their leadership's established, and all this. The bright side about the Milsim community and us alike is that so many people come and go so fast that positions open up and opportunities. Just you can't let that discourage you if there's already leadership filled and there's not a slot, because things move so fast. Leadership can change completely in the course of a month or so.
Mm.
Just take those opportunities as they present to you, and you can climb great with. We have so many people that joined that were oh, I'm never going to make it anywhere, and all they did was spend a little bit of time with us. Those opportunities present themselves. They shined at those opportunities and were able to climb up the ranks. So just don't take those opportunities as they present themselves. Look at them as a challenge and not let it weigh you down.
Yeah, that's a good one because I mean, leadership is one of the most important factors of any unit, any community, really. I mean, you talking about Reforger. I mean, in real life, organizations, communities, they can come and go, kind of pass and fail, depending on who's leading them and how they're going about it. So good points. And I mean, toxic community, it's a problem online. Unfortunately, it's just one of those parts of the internet that some people kind of take for granted, but it's definitely poisonous, and you got to get a handle on it. I can imagine, when you're just getting started out, you're up and coming and growing in numbers, how, some negative comments or, some a little bit of online, kind of, flaming or hate speech or whatever you want to call it, can definitely hinder, further development because some people take that seriously.
Hmm.
It's other people take it with a grain of salt, but if you don't know, what are you going to do? You might not be willing to take that leap of faith. So,
Yeah.
um, definitely, it's a testament to keeping it together, keeping focused, and staying positive that you have reached the level that you're at now. So, definitely some serious challenges for anybody. I've heard it before. I hate to say it, but it is just one of those things you see in Arma and just about every other platform that people are running and gunning on. So yeah, serious stuff. Now, you mentioned, your relationships, the units that you've met, that you've interacted with, that you've been online with. So I'm curious to hear more about that. How do you guys interact with the broader community? Whether you're in Reforger or doing things on other titles or behind the scenes. I mean, what do these relationships look like?
So they're mainly we try to prioritize like other Marine Corps units to work with them and to help foster their growth. I know a lot of units that are Marine Corps based out there are kind of small in number and they don't really get that full feeling. So we kind of run in larger numbers in comparison, and so we tie them into it so they can get that feel and that experience of what a full-fledged um, marine based operation would look like, whether it be an amphibious assault or whatever. But we do also work with OPFOR units, and we set, fair parameters with them to, increase the level of dynamics by fighting another well-structured, OPFOR unit, whether it be Russian or we've seen an insurgency unit out there that we've worked with, and it just adds another layer of, I guess, realism and dynamics to the game. But we allow anybody to come in if they're hosting something. Just yesterday, we did a, PvP, like a Milsim structure, not just running a gun, but a PvP event with a Canadian unit, I think a soft unit, and two Russian units. So
Hmm.
they were highly structured. You seen the enemy using tactics and formations, bounding the whole nine, and we were also using those things. And I'm telling you, it was really fun, even on the leadership side of things.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, and that's one of the things I love about just about all the Arma titles. Reforger has certainly, since it came out a couple of years ago, it really has caught up as, one of the standards of Milsim gaming. The possibilities are almost endless. We
Yes.
need a few more mods, maybe a few more scripts, but you were mentioning, your desire for more combined arms operations, and I mean, getting other units in there. I mean, yeah, they got their own kind of history and background and culture, but I mean, that's the case with just about any kind of joint or combined force. So, there are little differences here and there, but when
Yeah.
everybody is up to that standard that you guys are you're pursuing, you're training others, kind of sharing what you've learned in from others and developed in your own right. Yeah, that's what it's all about. For me, when it talks
Yes.
about interactions and community, that's kind of like the pinnacle of that potential that Arma holds. So outstanding.
Thank you.
Now, what about the future for 11th Mu? I mean, I always ask, where do you guys see yourself a year from now? So, let's fast forward to getting towards the end of 2026. For Forgers, I'm sure it's going to be strong. There's probably going to be even more members of the player base. Where do you guys see the unit?
So I actually have very high hopes. We we take in quite a few people on a week to week basis, and out of the people that we take, there's really good potential that comes in and makes the 11th Mu their home. And so I would say by the beginning of next year, we'll be operating at like an actual battalion level. Right now we're at a company level.
Hmm.
We still have somewhat of a full, like how a MU is structured, like with the different elements. Like we have a well versed ACE, we have a well versed LCE, and our GCE, which is the heart of the MU. It is prospering with good staff leadership who are teaching the constant people who are coming in how to get on the same page with our unit. So I would definitely say within uh, a couple, a month or month and a half, we'll be at battalion level, and then looking further out, we're just going to continue to build. We've opened up our own studio that is going to be for mods that are going to be more exclusive to like Marine Corps gear, equipment, vehicles
Hmm.
that we're learning and we pushed out the UH-1Y Venom. We're looking to developing a Viper Osprey. So this is all too in preparation, definitely to go on to Arma 4 and to keep building off of what we learn and how we grow from here in terms of our own SOPs, TTPs, the whole chain of command. How we deal with certain situations, etc.
Solid. I mean, ambitious, but definitely reasonable. Definitely feasible with what you guys got going here. And yeah, moving from. I mean, that's where it really gets good from my perspective. When you hit company level operations, that's where you start to maximize the potential of the ARMA titles. But yeah, I mean, operating as a battalion, it's doable, and it just makes it that much. It's that much of a multiplier in terms of the realism, the immersion, and it's just the fun aspect from where I'm coming from. So definitely, I wish you guys all the best in the year ahead. And it's great that you're you're moving forward with Armor 4 in mind because it's we're counting down. It seems we're
Yes.
still over a year off, so it seems like a long ways. But time flies, and that you're getting into modding. um, that's where a lot of units are making their mark. I mean, obviously they're unlocking, their own kind of potential in terms of immersive realism, but yeah, making their mark in the community and, like you said, kind of, supporting other units. That's how that's how you get good in just about everything. Keeping it
Yes.
positive and just working, never letting anything go slack. So serious, seriously good goals to have. So yeah, I'll have
Thank
to,
you.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll have to keep the comms open, see where you guys are at, and how things are developing as the next year unfolds.
Yes, sir.
So, anything with other units? You mentioned some of the the goals that you've got. What about joint operations? Anything along those lines in the foreseeable future?
Yes, we try to secure a JTO every week,
Hmm.
and then if we can't, like we try to shoot for them to come into our server just because we have less mods and more stability. But if it's worked out, to where we go to theirs, we're totally open to it. We just try to get people incorporated with whatever we had already planned, but we're adaptable. And when it comes to our deployment cycles, like we encourage the units that we already work with to whether they're OPFOR based units or friendly side units, um, to just pop in whenever they want. We hand out our server information and we let them know, hey, here's our schedule. If y'all want to show up, here's our briefing time, so you guys can get the details and we can get you tasked where you fit best and go from there.
Well,
Very
that's
open.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's the way to go about it, I think. Now, I'm going to have links to your Discord and your social media in the description below, so people can check you out. But I definitely just take a look and see what they've got going in terms of their operations. But also, other unit leaders, if you're looking to do some joint ops, you want to operate with some other leaders out there and learn and share what you've learned. Take a look as well. So see what they got going and open up those comms if that sounds like something you're interested in.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, personally, from you guys, I mean, each of you have a long history of milsim. You've played across different platforms, different styles. Found your way to the 11th, where you guys are really, honing in on that immersive realism aspect. What is it about milsim that keeps you coming back? I mean, like, what's your favorite thing about this type of gameplay?
Rev, if you'd like to start, and then Mox, I'll go last.
I mean, it kind of relates to something that happened, like what was brought up a while back, and that's the people that have been, veterans and done this stuff. But it's more for even the people that, like, for me, medically discharged and stuff like that. So it's the fact of being able to do something I was passionate about. See those people, give those people chances to do that stuff, make new friends. It's a world that you didn't get to experience, at least for me, um, on a personal level in the real world. So it's a way to keep that part of what was my life to me for a period of time. Rather that, and no matter what happens, throughout the real world, tough work day or car breaks down, whatever the case may be, it's something that you get to come and do and just kind of spend time with friends and experience what the military is all about. And people develop skills from this. So many people come in as young kids and develop true discipline and um, skills that they didn't have before when they first joined. And being able to see that is a really rewarding as a leader and somebody that they can look up to, and advice on any scale. It's just it's a nice feeling when you go to bed at night.
Yeah, that's a great perspective.
Big thing for me is a lot of just community. I am very interested in military things like Rev. Um, but I do enjoy the community and the people that you get to meet in this. Everybody's so different. People like certain things. Kind of meet everybody. Get a feel for the entirety of the community and what they like. You got your guys that like aviation. You got your guys that are more infantry liked. Kind of meet everybody. That's my point on it.
So yeah, it's that relationship, angle. It's about coming
Mm.
together with people and just having a good time. That's the thing. Just what can you say? Having a good time together. There's something. There's a different kind of vibe for Milsim, but at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of add on to what Mock said, how everybody is different. It's what I really love about it is watching all of these different people come together and accomplish goals together, and objectives. It may be just a game, but it is working towards still achieving something. And just like in the last podcast that I listened to that from you guys, um, um, it's fuck, I just had a brain fart, dude.
It happens.
So just like in the last podcast, it's about building relationships. These are real people on the other side of the mic,
Mm.
and we've had we've developed friendships that have lasted for years. I have a guy with me who's been for the last 9 years of me, running USMCx, which is the community behind the 11th MU,
Mm.
and many others that have been with me for years. And the memories that we made on a game, are like the funny ones, the accomplishments, um, is something that I love seeing other people reflect on over time as they spend, in this Milsim.
Gotcha. So yeah, great perspectives. I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, relationships. It's one thing to play a game, but it's another thing to come together. We got get people from all backgrounds. I mean, you guys know that. I like to phrase unity and diversity. It's that you guys can come from all these different backgrounds, have all these different skill sets in game, out of game, but when you come together on a common objective and operate as a unit, that's where a simple game becomes a truly amazing experience. Where that's the thing. If you can accomplish some of these things in game, I mean it says a lot about you because it takes somebody who needs to be dedicated, who is disciplined, who is talented and skilled, and knows how to communicate. It's one thing to shoot and move. It's another thing to flow with your element and make sure everybody's where they need to be when they need to be there. So really great story there or stories from each of you there in terms of what it is because that's a big draw for a lot of guys. Whether they're past military, active duty, thinking about it, or just interested other. When you get together with the right people, that's when you have those memories that stand out from any other game that you could play. So yeah, good stuff.
Thank you
Now,
very much, man.
yeah, I mean, definitely, it's what I like to hear. It is a sign of a successful unit because that's what people want. It's what people need. It's like anybody
Yeah,
can do single player crap, but it's like if you get on a toxic server or you play with people who don't know what they're doing, that's
yeah.
it ain't gonna last for anybody. So it says a lot. So, what about? your dream ops, if you could design like, the ultimate mission, the ultimate combat deployment, what would it look like for you guys?
I would say, uh, a fully functioning Marine Expeditionary Unit with, a dedicated red cell to where it is as, as dynamic as it can get, with deep story, um, and immersion, I guess. To see everything on. So we already function as a mu as it stands, but it's kind of towards, what I would say a smaller scale, but seeing it on a full scale, of course, scaled to, armor reforger, um, but seeing it on, a larger scale than what it is right now is really what I would like to see, and the coordination between all of the units.
Yeah, and I've heard it before, and a lot of guys, they're they're cognizant of the limitations of Arma 3, Armor Reforger. They know how far they can push their servers. I think, they how far they can push their own PCs for that matter. I'm
Yeah.
hopeful with Arma 4 that things will be
Yes.
different because I've said it before. I watch what's going on with Bohemian Interactive Simulations and VBS. They're kind of commercial, Milsim software. Like they can do some incredible stuff on their global servers. So I doubt that Arma 4 as a kind of a just a casual quote unquote game is going to stretch
Hmm.
the technology that far. But I mean,
Definitely.
we've seen some games out there where they're running 300-400 player servers and beyond. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I
Operating
mean,
truly
just
as a bat or higher, even as
I
a
mean,
regiment. Who knows?
eh,
yeah.
the idea for
Look at.
gaming.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're all good, man. The idea for gaming and how far the branching out, it's exciting for the Milsim community as a whole because who knows what we might run into the future. Arma could just be the beginning of what could become, and I'm excited to see what truly gets invented going forward.
Sure. Yeah. It's not the
Yeah,
only title out there.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like, if you look at just, Star Citizen, for example, I think their servers are up to 600, and with, how fast the technology and gaming is changing, like my expectations for Arma 4, I feel like they're going to be larger servers, more stability, and a deeper level of, modding capability. Like
Hmm.
something that's, I would say, would take it a step further than Arma 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. It would be a boost to the community and I think to the overall experience. Kind of long term. And we got people in the Arma community. I mean, I don't know how many devs are tuning in on the podcast, but we do have good reach here, and that's one of the reasons I like to ask about the future, about leaders' visions and what it is that they enjoy now and what they want to see in the future, because people are listening and they want to learn from us, just as much as they want to sell a product. So it's kind of a two-way street when you get down to
Yeah.
it. So great feedback. Now, uh, we've covered a lot here. I like to dig deep and get a good wide perspective. And when we've got different leaders up front, offering each of their points of view, it really enlivens the experience and kind of opens it up to that deeper level. So I got to ask, let's say somebody is new to Armor Forger, or they're just hearing about the 11th Mu. What would you want to showcase? Like, let's say you're streaming or you got some clips out there. What is it that you want them to see about what you got going on?
I would say the authenticity in, the missions and the training to what the Marine Corps does in real life.
All right, solid. So yeah, that immersive realism aspect.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, it's important. There's different levels, but yeah, you guys being, serious, hardcore, the story is just important as any of the technical details. So, all right, solid. So, I got the perennial favorite question for you guys. I love asking this one. The audience members love hearing it. It's great to hear what guys kind of think about themselves when you frame it. So I got to ask. Let's say that the 11th is going to Hollywood. You're going to be schmoozing and elbowing with a bunch of celebrities and actors and actresses and all that. Let's say that you wanted to compare what you guys got going in your ops to a famous movie. It could be a military movie, mini series, a TV show,
Yeah.
whatever kind of screen media you think best captures the spirit of the 11th Mew. What would that title be?
Well, seeing that we just came off of a Vietnam deployment, I would say we were soldiers.
Hmm,
You know,
that's a good one. Yeah.
outnumbered and outgunned, but they still pushed through and got the mission complete.
Yes. All right. Nice.
What about you, Rev?
I was sitting here trying to think, and it truthfully does depend on the moment, but like the number one thing, and it's more for the overcoming the challenges and adapting and just using what's at hand. It's hard to not go with Band of Brothers just because the way that Easy Company in that series just overcame every challenge, over every hump, promoting new people, finding a way. It's just something we've been able to do. Not necessarily how they did it, but just being able to find those diamonds in the rough with privates and all these people and seeing these guys step up and get their opportunity. Like I said earlier, I definitely have to go with Band of Brothers just for that.
All right. Another good one.
For me, I'm kind of on the same book with Rev. Uh, I feel like that movie kind of heavily portrays what we do. Uh, Not to a complete T, but in similarity with pushing through and overcoming aspects.
I gotcha. Well, I can see some common themes with both those titles there. I mean, talking about being surrounded, being outgunned, facing all these obstacles and coming through as a unit, stressing that teamwork and just overcoming one challenge after another. There's something to be said. I mean, that's why those guys are such hero. One of the reasons those soldiers are such heroes. And yeah, they might be army, so yeah, some of the details, some of the lingo, the jargon might be a little bit different, but the fighting spirit, definitely, there's some serious commonality there. So. Um, Great titles, seriously, and I would hope that about 99.9% of our audience members have seen both those. But if you haven't, please do, because they are part of the lore for certain. All right, so um, yeah, we definitely have covered a lot here, taking a deep dive, gone through all kinds of different aspects of the 11th Mu. One thing before, I start to wrap things up for the night, I want to ask you guys about your experience with Milsim units. So, I mean, like I mentioned, you guys are a tier one unit. You have subscribed to the platform. We're working with you to support your unit's growth. Get the word out to the community like we're doing or trying to do on this podcast here. So I got to ask you, in your experience with us, what do you like? What's worked well for you? And what, if anything, do you think needs to be improved, or would you like to see that you haven't seen so far? We're always trying to keep comms open, and we want to get better and bring out the best in the most that we can for you guys along the way.
Honestly, don't have any complaints. Like, you guys have been really kind to us, um, and y'all have opened up more opportunity for us, and we just appreciate, having this opportunity again with you guys.
Oh, I appreciate it as always. I mean, that's the thing. Just getting good people together. Keeping it positive, maintaining that perspective on growth and having a good experience. That's what it's all about. So whatever we can do, again, we'll be in touch with you, with our subs, with the community in general. We're always here. We're listening. We're giving our feedback. So let us know what you want. Let us know what you need. What your hopes are for the community, because Really, I just got a good feeling about the next, couple of years ahead. Just
Yeah,
with Arma 4, with all the other competitive competing titles out there. There's going to be a lot of time on server, I think, in 2026 and beyond, with everything going
definitely.
on. So yeah, let's make the most of it and keep it fun. So yeah, definitely.
Well,
Line's always open.
what you're doing with what you're doing with the podcast, I mean, I think it's just fantastic. It's a great idea, just from as simple as getting to hear other units and stuff they experience and stuff they go through. Heck, you can listen and learn from them. You can reach out to them. You're just expanding what could be bonds going forward in the experiences. And I think that's fantastic. I think it's a great idea, and it's real elegant. It's real nice. I like much like Campbell. I took some time to sit back and watch a few of them, and just being able to learn from those guys who have done it even longer than I have. It's definitely been um, great to be able to watch that.
Well, I appreciate that. I learn something every time. I mean, I've got my own experiences. I've done just, an enlisted, milsimmer. I've done just about everything that you could possibly do in Arma 3. But that's the thing. We've got some guys that are just not only great people, but super smart, super dedicated. They've got experiences going back, many decades, in Milsim. And it always blows my mind to hear about their experiences and, like you said, to learn from them, to see what they got going, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and what they've done to bring out the best in their people themselves and the other guys that they come into contact. So yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of clutter, a lot of noise out there on YouTube, on other social media. We're trying to be that hub where everybody can come here, find who they need, what they're looking for. And I think the podcast is a great way to kind of cut through the noise and hopefully bring out the best. I mean, not so much about me, but you guys like you and the other units that we're hosting here. It's been a pleasure learning from you, from the other leaders in the community, and yeah, just kind of hoping and dreaming and planning for the future.
Yeah, man. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Well, it has been a pleasure, gentlemen. So, um, before we cut for the evening, is there anything that we haven't discussed about the 11th Mu that you want to get out there? There's one thing that you want to know about the unit that we haven't shown them yet. What would it be?
Ox and Rev, I'll let y'all have it since I've had the floor. Uh,
I have no idea, man. I think we've been over most topics I thought of.
Yeah, I can't. I think you've done a really good job about asking the questions and getting in depth about it. I really don't think I can have anything right off the top of my head at this moment.
All right, fair enough. I mean, we tend to follow a more or less similar format. I kind of mix up the questions a little bit depending on the unit style and their history. But I mean, that's the thing. I wanna reveal as much as possible. So I appreciate that. But definitely, guys, we got the links below in the description. So everybody in the audience, you can take a look for yourself here. But um, let's say somebody's listened, they've seen some media out there on X or another social media platform, and they're looking to get started. So what's the best way to get involved in to get an enlistment going with the 11th?
so we do have a website. You can Google the 11th Mu Milsim, and it'll be the first one that pops up. Or you can, join our Discord. Either way, you're going to come through the website to the Discord. So I would just say Discord. You'll complete a small application just so we can kind of get to know you a little bit, and then we will get the process started.
Very good. Well, that's easy enough. I'll have the Discord link below, so that is simple click away. Get in there, get involved with these guys, and get in the fight yourself there. So yeah, it seems like I need to hit my canteen here. So bear with me one moment. I swear, what's that quote from Band of Brothers? Dehydration is a soldier's worst enemy. I love that one. Yeah, I know the context is a little bit different. I'm not drinking the hard stuff, but still, yeah, you gotta watch that dehydration, man. It'll get you. So,
Oh, for
gentlemen,
sure.
it has been an absolute pleasure. Campbell, Mox, Rev, really great talking with you guys. You've got a solid unit, a lot of potential in some big plans. So I wish you all the best as we get into 2026. And seriously, I'll be keeping in touch and seeing where you guys are. Looking forward to getting you on the show maybe a year from now and seeing
Definitely.
what has come along.
Yeah, man.
Hmm.
Thank you again. We really appreciate this.
Yep, absolutely. It's been a pleasure. All right, ladies and gents. So another great podcast. I always love getting to know these units. Seriously, I learned something. I'm pretty sure. I hope that you guys did as well. Take a look at those links. Check out the social media. There's some good stuff there. It's just like if you're into Milsim, if you're into Reforger, it's it's worth the clicks, man. You might go down a rabbit hole, but you'll have a good time doing it. So. We do have more podcasts in the works as always. Always promise, the next one as soon as we can get it. So I'll be back ASAP with the next episode. Until that time, this is C. Brock signing off.